Welcome back to another episode of Titans of Foodservice. I'm your host, Nick Portillo. Thank you for joining me again here on another episode. Please, before we get into the episode, if you enjoy the show, if you can leave me a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or please engage with my content on YouTube or LinkedIn, that would mean a lot to me. That helps with my reach and getting more people to learn about food service is an incredible industry, and I just want to spread the word. Now, today I'm sitting down with someone who's truly shaped the landscape of food service, Brian Hofmeier. He's the vice president of J.T.M Food Group. Brian has been with J.T.M for over 36 years, and his fingerprints, well, they're all over the growth of the company. When he first started at J.T.M, 10%, yes, 10% of their total sales were food service. Now, over 3 decades later, 95%. Huge transformation. Brian's story, though, it starts even before he got to J.T.M. He was working in his family's restaurants before joining the company, where he's been at the forefront of innovation ever since he joined. He pioneered J.T.M's commodity processing program for the K-12 sector, actually pioneering the commodity processing program for the entire country. And we talk a little bit about that on the episode, and I think you're really going to like it. It's pretty cool. It's a very much a historical, very significant event in the history of our industry. From taco meat and cheese sauce to cherry burgers, mac and cheese, and about 500 products in between, Brian has been a catalyst for the explosive growth of JTM, and we're going to map through and walk through some of that here on this episode. Now, without further ado, let me go ahead and welcome a true titan of our industry, Brian Hofmeier. All right, Brian, welcome to the Titans of Food Service podcast. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join me.
Well, thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, and I know we're talking a little bit off camera that you're an Ohio man.
hmm
And I know a little bit about Ohio, not much, but I looked up on your LinkedIn. You went to Miami, Ohio,
Correct.
and the fraternity I was in college started at Miami, Ohio. It's called Phi Delta Theta.
Oh,
It started like in 1800s. I think there's actually probably three.
three
I
out.
think Sigma Chi, Beta Theta Pi, all started
That
there
you
at
just named
Miami,
mine.
Ohio.
Beta Theta
Which one were
Pi
you?
was me. Yeah, I was a beta. Yeah. I
Okay,
said
nice.
was sorry is are am a beta. You're never not.
Right. And I think what they called it the Miami Triad or something
Yeah.
like that. It
Yeah.
was part of our like, I remember we had like a booklet when we first joined. I can't remember the name of that thing, but
Yeah.
I think in there it had all the history and whatnot and
Yeah.
our founding fathers and,
Yep.
looking at those guys, the founding father. I mean, they had these long
Yeah.
beards. I'm like, you guys are 18. This is insane.
Yeah. They all look
Uh,
like every Civil War picture you've ever seen. Same with the guys that founded Beta. I mean,
oh,
They
really? They look
all
the
the same
same?
thing. They all look like, they all look like they walked off a Civil War battlefield with big giant beards and the big chopper, sideburns, right?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah,
Oh
when I
my
went
God.
there, it was polos, izots, and, short haircuts, so
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we had sweaters you'd tie around your neck back in the late
Oh,
late
like, probably the
late '80s.
pastels, right?
Yeah, I'm sure
That's
I'm
cool.
sure Nick, I'm sure I'm older than you. Like,
I see, yeah,
80
maybe
I
a little bit.
graduated college in '88, so
I graduated in 2015,
yeah,
so,
right? So
I graduated 10 years ago.
yeah, and I got here and I came to work at JTM in '89. So,
How'd you get into the food business?
actually, the interesting thing is my family's in the restaurant business, my whole life,
Okay.
and, it just so happened that, I was, going to Miami University. Once I graduated, I was actually headed to law school, Syracuse Law School. Had been accepted, took my LSAT, and, was gonna be the family lawyer. Graduated, walked down the steps, walked up to my dad and went, I'm really tired of studying. Um, and being poor isn't very much fun. So why don't I come to work with you? So that's what happened. I went to work for my father, who was a GM of one of our restaurants called El Coyote, not the one in California, one back this
Yeah.
direction. And my family had a chain of Tex-Mex restaurants. So I started running the one we had here in Cincinnati. We soon had, I think, 4 more in Cincinnati. But what happened is I actually got to know the Jack Moss, who actually was one of the founders and owners of JTM. And I remember we were just talking one day, and he's like, if you'd ever like to, if you ever want to get into the sales, sales business, I'm hiring a food service salesperson. I talked to my dad. My dad said, that'd be good. You could go get a job working there. You could learn how to read. Cisco was our distributor at the time. You could learn how to read those green bar books. And he goes, I know there's A clip, B clip, C clip, D clip, all the clips. So that way I could figure out what was a cheaper price. Really. I mean, that's kind of how the conversation went.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, I was working for J.T.M, and I was their second food service salesman, and I think I was their first food service salesperson that wasn't a family member. So that's how I got here. So,
Incredible. Is El Coyote, is that still operating
oh,
today?
absolutely, yeah. My brother and my sister. My brother's the GM, and my sister runs all the back of the house. The vendors, the books, hire fire, all the fun stuff in the restaurant business, right? And actually, this past weekend, my father just passed away, who was one of the founders of the restaurant, and it was 83, just turned 83, and he had been running the restaurant and GMing the Cincinnati location for, oh my goodness, well, probably since I left. So so he just passed on, and my brother just took over the GM spot there. So anyway, but that's how I got into it. You don't get well, if you're once you're in the food business, you never get out of the food business. You just maybe work in different parts of the food business. My brother worked for Kroger, and my sister actually worked for Heinz at one point. So none of us ever
So
went
you guys are,
in the food business.
yeah, your whole family is well entrenched in the food business in one, whether it's manufacturing or, working in a restaurant or on the grocery side. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's what we did.
When you joined JTM, you said you're the second food service
Mhm.
salesperson. Was the majority of the business in retail, or
Yeah.
what the company look like at that point?
The interesting thing about JTM at the time is 90% of our business was retail and 10% of our business was food service. And the whole plan was to expand the food service business and get more diversified. Um, and we were doing a retail business in like a 500 or 600 mile radius of our facility. Food service, we were doing it more a tighter circle in like 100 mile radius. And one thing led to another. We expanded our food service business, and we ended up finding or founding a K-12 division. And today, as a company, we have a national accounts division, and we have a food service division, and a college university division, and a C-store division, and a military division, and a K-12 division, and uh, and a retail division. You fast forward it 36 years, and we are now about 5% retail, and we are 95% food service. So the Jack Moss Jr. dream of diversifying worked very well. It just took a little longer. I'm glad I made it all the way through this many years to see us flip it to what he really, really wanted it to be. So,
Hey, what was it over the course of all of these years where it has flipped? Obviously, your
mhm,
your geography is much, much larger
yeah,
than 500 or 100
yeah,
miles. But what was it that propelled the food service business so much greater? And food service, I say as an umbrella for K-12, college,
yeah.
universities, all of those different segments.
You're gonna laugh.
What do you think?
The words taco meat,
Really?
taco meat. Back when I first started, there were a couple of people in the country that actually made a fully cooked, prepared taco filling. Not many. And we started producing product for Sizzler and just a bunch of the chains that utilize taco filling. And that was our bellwether number one item out of the bag, as we all say. And we start making one, and the next thing you know, you're making 40 different ones, different flavors, different profiles, authentic taco filling, which was their traditional Texas style taco filling, right? Just cooked meat and seasoning, basically. And then we expanded, started doing a whole bunch of different chilies around the country. We were actually the original company that when Buffalo Wild Wings had 4 locations, we started making their chili, and
Wow.
we have been the ones making their chili all along, right?
Oh,
And
wow.
that was true with a lot of a lot of the national chains, which at the time were small regional chains, and we just grew with them. Um, and they would want a new product, or we would see something new and suggest it. And the next thing you know, we're making either a private label for them, or we'd be making just a J.T.M branded product that they were purchasing. So, um, but and then the next product line that we launched is we started a K-12 division, right? And I took that over in '94. And one of the first new products we came out with was cheese sauce, only because uh, one of the states we dealt with. I entered this business at I would say, the birth of commodity processing. Right? It was something that happened, but all of us were backing up to a school's warehouse and picking up product and bringing it back to your plant, producing it. Well, there was a number of us that went to Washington and had a long discussion with USDA, AMS and FNS about, this would work a lot better if you would just send the material to us, and then we could just manufacture it into a finished good, and then return it to the schools. And they were in agreement. They thought that sounded like a pretty good idea. It was uh, Gail from, this is some old timers, probably you don't even know the names. Gail from Tyson, Valerie Fairbanks from Pierre, as well as Gene Harris, right, from Pierre, soon to be Advanced Pierre, soon to be Tyson, soon to be myself, and I can't remember another person. And that's really where national commodity processing came from, was just that meeting where we all had a meeting of the minds and went, this would be a little more efficient. So we started the process, and it goes back to cheese. One of my customers, state of Michigan, actually, had a whole bunch of cheddar cheese in their freezer, block cheddar, and they were getting ready to start the new diversion program for things. So he asked me if we could make a cheese sauce, and Jack Moss, who's my senior VP of sales, and I are up there for the meeting. We said sure. We came back, and I'll never forget, met with his brother, who was the director of ops, right, VP of operations, and we're in a meeting. He goes, cheese sauce. That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard of. We went, well, we have grinders, we have cookers, we can make cheese sauce. Okay, we'll figure out how to make cheese sauce. Now you fast forward it. I'm not a meat company anymore. I'm a cheese company.
Hmm.
57% of all of my business is cheese today. So we went from the stupidest idea on the face of the earth to, I just built a brand new facility down the street from my office to be able to run 500,000 pounds of cheese items a year. Not 500,000, I'm sorry, 500 million pounds. Sorry, 500 million pounds. So, right?
You know, in my line of work as a broker, I have brands that reach out to me all the time, and they want me to represent them in food service, and they don't have a lot of times they don't have business, right? They're just looking for some sort of start.
Yeah.
How did you start making product for, you mentioned
Mhm.
Chili's, you started with the original for Buffalo Wild Wings, and how did you get into that meeting with AMS and FNS? How did you end up
We
there?
it just sometimes you wanna say dumb luck. Just so happened that there's a organization called ACTA, the American Commodity Distribution Association, but it was not called that back then. I forget what it was called prior to that. And it just so happened that the president of ACTA was Jim Merton from the state of Michigan, and there was a fellow named J.R. Green from the state of Ohio, and he might have been the, I don't know, vice president or the president elect. And in Indiana, Mike Gill was also involved. So it just so happened that we knew all the people that were in charge at the for ACTA, right? They were on the board, and they were close to us from a proximity standpoint, right? So, I mean, Michigan, I'd get to Columbus, I'd get up to Lansing, or I could get over to Indianapolis. And honestly, it just came out of discussions with their own frustration on um, h- how difficult things were in order to do commodity processing. And these guys back then were doing statewide commodity processing, where they would put out a bid for the state, and then you would make it, and you would make a product for the whole state. So we were just lucky from a proximity standpoint. We knew the right people, and number two, most of the quote unquote statewide processing states were located here in the Midwest, and we just started doing business with them one item at a time and 1 year at a time, and and we started the whole process of going around the country, explaining what commodity processing was, and and how it worked. And in the early days, there was a guy with Land O'Lakes, Bob Rose. We called it the circus family. All of us, none of our companies had, when you had a K-12 division back then, or an education division, the division usually consisted of one to three people. I mean, that was it. Um, so I covered 24 states myself for the first 10 years. And then we got the business to the point that we hired more and more and more people. I mean, now we cover the United States with 13 dedicated K-12 regionals. I have my own chefs. I have my own marketing team. I've got my own R&D team. I mean, so it's just amazing from two guys. The original guy that I worked with was a fellow named Larry Blundred, and it was Larry and I, and then that was it. We just divided up. He got Illinois because his parents were from Chicago. They lived in Oak Brook or Oak Park, so he got Illinois, and I some of the states I got the Northeast because a lot of my family is from New York. So I'm like, it gives me, when I'm out there, I can, I'll at least be able to visit them. But again, one thing led to another. Um, I always tell everybody you couldn't write this in a book. People wouldn't believe you that all of a sudden um, the business would have gone from. And I still remember the first truckload I got. We got Larry and I were sitting back in our shared cubicle office, and we got a phone call from the state of Michigan, and we got a truckload of beef, and I was going to make um, raw 5-to-1 cherry burgers. I was the original company that came out with the raw ground beef, and it had cherries in it, from the state of Michigan, and the cherries, the acid in the cherries, really did do something with the meat when you mixed it with the myosin. It made a really juicy burger that sealed the outside of it. I mean, it was a great product. Um, and that was the first product I sold the state of Michigan, but then it was taco meat right after that. And then cheese sauce, the dumbest item on idea on the face of the earth. And then we made mac and cheese, by the way. And that's from the same thing. States around us said, "Hey, you make cheese sauce. Can you make mac and cheese?" And we came back, and same ops people. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why are we going to do that? And I think we sold 200 million pounds of macaroni and cheese last year. So it's just crazy. Um, Again, but whatever. I mean, it's been a fabulous ride, and I'm not going anywhere. Um,
Yeah, it
right,
sounds like a
right.
lot of fun.
You know, for what?
When you look back, you were kind of in many ways, in the food business, part of a historical event,
Correct.
going through commodity processing and pioneering that. Now it's I think anybody in K-12, on at least in the, dietitians
Yeah,
or, on the food side understands what it is.
yeah.
And you guys were really the original pioneers of that. And kudos for you for jumping in and taking that risk. On on the production side, you've had taco meat,
Mhm,
you've had cheese sauce, you've had macaroni and
mhm.
cheese, you have the cherry burgers,
Yeah.
which that sounds interesting.
Mhm.
What's it take from the production side to bring on, new lines? Is that hard to do?
It wasn't back then. Um,
Yeah.
Back then it was relatively easy for a couple of reasons. Number one, I had production line time available and we were looking to fill the plant, right? No matter what, no matter how. So in the early days, we were in yes mode. If somebody said they wanted to do it, odds are we were going to do it. Um, I mean, we today, and I'm down in the number of products I do today. I do 137 products for schools for K-12. And out of as a company, we do like 592, I think, from the last meeting I was in. But at we did over 200 items at one point prior to COVID, we did what a lot of people did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We always say no more bougie products. We basically went back to basics, and just said, these are our core products, and this is what we do. And these other products are kind of nichey. And the one thing about being in the food business is when you discontinue an item, it's always somebody's favorite item. It always is. And when you discontinue it, that's only when your sales will quadruple on it. The day you announce you'll discontinue it, and there'll be 4 truckloads of orders come in for it, right? It just never fails. Um, but but again, our goal is to make the products that our customers love with the nutritional specifications that we need to hit, but have the ability, from an economies of scale standpoint, to run a lot of volume of an item when we run it. Because, as everybody knows in the K-12 business, even though yeah, this is not a high profit margin business. You have to make your money in K-12 running millions of pounds of stuff, because running thousands of pounds of stuff will and you will in selling K-12 products, you will end up in bankruptcy. Um, because again, the rules and regs and graders and this requirement and the see and label program, and I need you to whack another 25% of sodium out of it, and all that kind of stuff is it's just expensive. I'm just excited that as far as our product line is concerned, we pretty much have gone through all of our, we've done all our sodium reductions as a company, right? We all know it's a big thing coming up here soon. It's been a big thing. It's going to be a bigger thing. Um, we're just excited to be able to. Uh, we've been for the past 3 or 4 years what I call black sky thinking. Pretty much, you got to take your product line, you got to change it, or it's not going to be an item that's going to exist in the future. We've now finally come out of all that, and we're now in blue sky thinking again. Now we're looking at more innovation, more new and exciting type of products. Um, but there's only so much R&D time, and I've been burning my R&D people on both ends of the candle since 2010 when Healthy Hunger Kids came out, and it has been one constant R&D meeting for 20 years. I mean, it's just been insane. It's not quite 20 yet, but it feels
It's
like 50. But
yeah.
but anyway, but you got to do what you got to do to be in the business that we're in. So
N Totally. Tell me more about that black sky versus
yeah.
blue sky. What does that mean?
Black sky black sky thinking is, we always say head down, grinding forward, and, making a change to 83 products, right? And, and you're not making those changes to make them, better to quote unquote "taste better" or to react better, you're making those changes in order to take out sodium, to reduce sat fat, to sometimes I'm doing things that I don't really think my customer maybe really would want me to do, but they're required to do. So my job is to, and this is an internal term, we call it equalization of palatability. That's my R&D and food scientists and all the guys with doctors on their names across the street that work in our facilities, work in R&D. To me, in salesman world, that means it just needs to taste the same. That is our goal, is to give you all the benefit, give the customer all the benefit of sodium reduction, fat reduction, things of that nature, without asking our ultimate customer, the kid coming through the lunch line, to feel like they've sacrificed anything. I just want them to eat the cheese sauce or the taco meat or the chili or whatever they're eating, the mac and cheese. I just want them to quote one of my food service directors. They said, the day they quit running to the lunchroom for your macaroni and cheese is the day we're going to have to make a product change, right? Because again, and in the food service, well, in this food business, you want to sell product that people want to eat, right?
Mm.
That they want to enjoy, that makes their life better. Um, sometimes you're working on some projects where you're like, I don't know, I'm not going to make anybody happy with this, but it's gonna make some dietitian happy somewhere, maybe. Trying to make we always say what the spreadsheet turn green, right? You want that week to turn green and make sure your sodium and your veg numbers are right. Or, I mean, it's the reason I love our food service directors, because nobody works harder than those guys and gals.
Mhm.
I mean, in my family's restaurant, if we decide we're gonna put new seasoning on a strip steak or something, we don't calculate the sodium we're putting on it. We just go, "Yeah, that's about right." You know? Um,
The old eyeball.
yeah, right? And, what are you serving? Well, just make sure make sure you use the number 6 scoop, but I don't really care whether you're mounding it or not mounding it, or scraping it. Nobody's weighing anything except in the beginning. I mean, it's a it's a damn tough job just from a regulation standpoint to put a meal on a tray and give it to a kid. And unless you're involved in it, you have no idea how complicated it is. It is so
Oh, yeah.
complicated. You almost need Elon Musk to design something and to make it work better,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
When it comes to regulations, do you find like does a new president, a new political
Oh, yeah.
party, does that change what you do and the
Yeah, oh, yeah.
regulations? In the
Yeah.
30 years you've been doing this.
Yeah. Hurry up and wait. I've been my I think Bush 1 was president when I came in. And yes, it's like riding a Brahma bull, every presidency, because you never know what their particular thing's going to be, right?
Mhm.
Some just want to kind of keep it going, and they don't really want to come over and mess with certain parts of the feeding programs. You get other ones that are in there, they want to try to change the world completely. They want to go really far, really fast. And as we all know, really far, really fast doesn't really work. Really far over you know, 2 or 3 generations of kids,
Mhm.
that's possible. Um, some of the funny things that I think back to, is, the word whole grain rich, right? That didn't even exist. They just made it up. And I remember calling people, I needed to buy whole grain rich pasta, and they go, "Well, Brian, we make semolina pasta and we make whole wheat pasta. We don't make whole grain rich. What is whole grain rich?" I said, "Well," they go, "That's not even a term." I go, "Well, the undersecretary just said whole grain rich, and that's what it is." So, but again, we worked with a number of our pasta suppliers to make whole grain rich pasta. And we probably are now at iteration number 20. as we've upgraded pasta throughout the years. And we've pretty much gotten it to a point that it's I was gonna say it's never we always say you could always make something better, but I mean, we have gotten to the point, not just us, other industry members as well. We've gotten to the point on formulation on whole grain rich pasta that it pretty much is about just like semolina pasta. Doesn't but that took us from 2010 to 2025, right? I mean, just to get the pasta right. Um, but we have, um, uh, one of the things I didn't even mention is one of the other things that really started us early on is, way back when, prior to 2010, back in the '90s, they, meaning USDA, wanted all the schools to cook, drain, and rinse their ground beef in the cafeterias, right? Cook, drain, and rinse, reduce the sat fat. We developed an in-line process by which we cook, drain, and rinse ground beef. So I can get ground beef down to the fat level of a ground chicken or ground turkey item. I can reduce the
Hmm.
sat fat and the fat by 50%. So we started doing that, uh, and, um, um, and we did it at no extra cost. I didn't charge them any more money for it. I had to sell a healthier, better for you product, at the same price as the other guy or gal that was making the unhealthier product. But that's how we also got our foot in the door with a lot of schools. And the one thing we always learned, I never ever walked into a cafeteria where the workers went, "No, we love cooking and draining, rinsing the ground beef in a colander and
I
carrying
was gonna
all the
say,
grease out to the grease
yes.
trap," right? Or you go to California where they'd say, "We're not even allowed to have a grease trap," right? They don't even
Yeah.
want us to do that. So, so that part of our business and our beef business, our entree business, kettle entree, was born. And we cook, drain, and rinse most of our beef kettle items have for years. Um, and to my knowledge, there's nobody else that does that. Um, there might be somebody out there, but we haven't run into them. And again, I do it for the same price as the guy or gal who doesn't do it. Um, our view at J.T.M. is that is our give back to the world of, hey, look, how you trying with, I'm trying to make you a great, delicious product, but I'm also trying to make you that product that you don't know it's stealth health, that you don't know it's you don't know it's good
Yeah.
for you. I mean, I love Taco Bell taco meat, but it's got about, I don't know, 17, 18 fat grams in it, maybe 20. Mine's got 5,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
I mean, so, I mean, but you wouldn't know it, and, that's the key, so, anyway.
Have you ever tried to expand into a new segment or new product line and it was just a total flop?
Oh,
Like it just was an epic fail?
absolutely. The word fundle, um, comes to mind. The worst product I ever came out with, um, it was an enrobed. It made all the sense in the world. It was an enrobed kind of a, think of a yeast roll, right? Like a yeast, like a yeast roll, but
Yeah.
it was enrobed, and in it there was a taco and cheese were in it and sausage gravy, and I mean, I have competitors today that still have that product. Everybody's brought it out. It's been a failure. I just happened to be the first in the line of failure, for the product. Yes, that was a $1 million mistake for me. And all I have to do if I ever want to watch all the veins in my CEO's neck come out is just say the word fundle. Um, and it's funny, we utilize the K-12 Alliance, right? And you may be familiar with David Kaplan and his group.
Yeah.
We utilize the K-12 Alliance, and they do some of our focus group work for us, right? And when I first hired David Kaplan, he came in, and the first project he had for me was to analyze the Fundle program and tell me if I could save it, what he thought of it. And he's standing in the lobby, he looks at me, he goes, "This is gonna be a one and done project because 'cause you're gonna fire me." I go, "Why am I gonna fire you?" He goes, "Well, I don't have I don't have good news for you." I go, "That's okay. You can call the baby ugly." I mean, I think it's ugly already. I'm trying to figure out if I could, if we can save this thing. We went in we went into the conference room, and he opened with, "Well, This is the lowest testing product my group has ever tested in our 20 years.
Wow.
And and I'm sitting with my CEO, my CFO, my senior VP of sales, and my CEO looks at him and goes, "Well, thanks for coming in today." He shuts his phone, walks out, he goes, "Okay, Brian, kill it. Kill it as fast as you can. We'll save as much money." That is the worst product I have ever come out with. And I made a shelf-stable cheese cup once, which, I had all intentions of the world that it was gonna be just like my regular cheese sauce, which is frozen. And the company that we ended up working with had to make a number of modifications in order to make it shelf stable. And it took a fabulous product and turned it into just a complete, just crap.
Yeah.
And that was my other one. Um, that was oh, and when you sell frozen products for a living and you try to sell the world a the one shelf stable product, or actually I think I had three: jalapeno, queso, and cheddar. When you try to sell the world that knows you as a frozen guy, and you ship product even on dry trucks to them, they still, Ian, with big giant Dayglow stickers on the sides of the boxes, "Do not freeze me. I am shelf stable." When I tell you, Nick, that they probably froze 250,000 pounds of it. And when you freeze shelf stable cheese cups, you know what they are? They're not good. They're really bad. The
Yeah.
water separates. So, yeah, so those are my 2 losers. I've had a couple other along the way, but, pretty much I focus group everything now, even though I think it's the greatest idea ever. My Between my marketing team and my culinary team and my R&D team, once we get it to the point where we all agree that we think it's good, then it goes outside for a focus group work, with real kids and real people, uh 'Cause sometimes you're blinded by your own light, you know?
Yeah, I think it's important to do that. I know Amazon, they have this concept called a PR FAQ. It's a
Yeah,
press released and then frequently asked questions.
yeah,
Essentially, they'll have an idea
yeah,
and they'll release a press release that, hey, here's this new product or service. Here's some, it's fake testimonials, but it looks real.
yeah,
And then a bunch of frequently asked questions that people, when they read it, they can, understand what it is. And then essentially a way to test to see if somebody would buy that.
yeah,
So maybe it cost them $10,000,
yeah.
right, to put it all together and send it out, or maybe it's more. It's Amazon, it's probably way bigger, but it's a good way for them to test to see if a consumer is actually going to purchase that service or product or whatever they're thinking of.
Here's a funny one for you.
Yeah,
People ask me this all the time. What's it cost to bring a new product to market, right?
yeah.
One SKU, my minimum entry is $137,000.
Are you serious?
Minimum,
Wow.
minimum. That's all it's gonna cost me $137,000 before one person buys a box and eats it. So
And what? How do you get that number?
that's the average of we try track my average development costs throughout
Uh-huh.
the years, and that's what it all adds up to, 137,000. Throwing away old ingredients that you can't use anymore, buying in new ingredients. Did I mention every ingredient that you have to add to something to make it healthier cost I mean, light salt used to cost 20 times more than salt. Now light salt costs 30 times more than salt, and where most of the light salt in the world comes from, Canada, people we're kind of fighting with right now. The one thing that we have lots of in America, all we'll ever need is salt, and that's the one thing they don't want us to use. Um, right? I mean, it's just kinda crazy, but again, whole grain rich pasta cost a lot more money. All you gotta do is look at a USDA bid for pasta, right? And USDA is they're buying 1,000,000 pounds of pasta at a throw. Semolina pasta is 75, 80 cents a pound. Their whole grain rich pasta, it's gonna be 285 to 3 and a quarter. It literally costs I used to say until recently, almost what ground beef costs, but not right now. Um, but it's unbelievable, what the cost difference in costs are, in
Yeah.
order to do what you have to do to make a product look, taste, and act exactly the same as the other product. And then we'll have customers that'll say to us, "Well, why is that product $5 a case more?" I go, "Well, because you need 242 milligrams of sodium total in a serving, and the other product had 550, and it tastes the same. Actually, somebody will go, I think it tastes a little better. Well, that's great. It should for $137,000. Um, I could buy everybody a new Corvette every time I come out with a new line of a new product, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
My developmental process in food service is quite a bit less money because you're using common ingredients.
Mm.
You're allowed to use salt and other things. Call me crazy. You're not cooking, draining, and rinsing. And some of our food service business, they actually they don't want it drained. They flavor, they love the flavor. And I get it. But that's not the hand I'm dealt. And that's not the world I live in.
It
I mean, we're in we always say we're in and out of Washington all the time. I have people that work for me that they pretty much just do governmental stuff all day long. That's all they do. And now they're talking about breaking up all of the not breaking up, but taking the FNS and AMS offices, right, which are located in Washington, DC, and moving them all over the country. So, we can't wait to see how that'll work, whether they'll keep, you know, this AMS group that, okay, let's say it's a C and label office. Is the C and label office really is it gonna stay in DC? Or are they gonna move it out somewhere? And are they gonna take by the way, it's 2.5 people that work in the C and label office, not 3, 2.5, because the other person works half on something else. Um, are they gonna take the 2.5 people and divide them into 3 different regional
y
offices? I mean,
yeah.
I have there's a comment period out for it now, and we were talking about it today. I'm like, "I really don't know what comment to even say." Um
Mhm.
I like them all in one place, but that is not what's going to happen. They're all going to be in different places, so we'll learn another new normal. You know,
Yeah.
I
You have
just
to
hope
just
they put them in
adjust.
Indianapolis, in the Indianapolis office. That would be really handy for me. But
Yeah, not too far.
it'd only be an hour and 20-minute drive. But I'm sure they'll put them in the Salt Lake City office, which is as far away from me as the offices will get. So
Yeah, that's a good way away.
right. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like I said, it's the good news about the K-12 business. It is never the same day twice, ever.
Mhm.
You walk into your office, I'll get a question I've never been asked before every day. Where what farm was the cow on? Did the cow come from? Do you know what farm the turkey can was would grew up? Do you know what hatchery that hatched the egg? Got that question last year. Yes, on your turkeys? Do you know what hatchery is the one who hatches the eggs for the turkey farm that grows the turkey? No, ma'am, we don't. Yeah, I'm sure somebody with enough money could figure that out, but,
Yes.
no, I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
Or here's another good one for you. What state was the cow from that they milked to make the cheese?
Wow.
And then she go, "Ma'am, the milk comes in on a 40,000-gallon tanker, and a cow gives about I think it's 8 to 12 pounds of milk a a day, so that's a whole bunch of cows."
That's a ton
Um,
of cows.
right? I mean, you know, uh, can you tell me the cow that is from my box of taco meat? I made 1.2 million pounds of taco meat last week, ma'am, and, you know
Yeah. There's just no way to know.
Anyway, it's just like I said, but we never get any of those questions, like, in our food service part of our business.
Yeah.
Um, but in our school, it still amazes me some of the questions we get, especially when somebody will call the food service director and they'll go, "Well, I don't know, but here's Brian Hofmeier's cell phone number, call him," right? You're like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Yeah.
I'll try to figure it out. So,
Yeah, I'll try
um,
my best.
like I said, but anyway, it's never the same day twice. Um, I wouldn't change a damn thing. I would still, if I had to do it all over again, and I knew what I knew, I'd probably still do what I do. Um, because the other thing about this to being in the K-12 part of the world is, I mean, I'm servicing people. I'm serving people that are going on with their lives. I'm serving people that are in the beginning. It's the positive end of things, right? I mean, I would not want to be in the acute care business, even though I have some of my colleagues here that are servicing that segment. It's like I said, it's always fun. There's nothing better than doing cuttings in school with kids coming through and eating your lunch. Especially, there's nothing better than a 9 or 10-year-old in a school when you're trying product because you're going to 100% get their opinion whether you like it or not. And
Yeah, they're gonna let you know.
I've been standing there before. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, how come we don't serve good food like this in the direct next year? But I've also been standing there where the girl eats it, spits it out, and goes, "This is horrible. What's this made out of?" "What's made out of beef?" "Oh, I'm a vegetarian." You're like,
Oh,
"Oh, okay. Well, I see why you don't. I see why you don't like it." But yeah,
yeah.
you know. Anyway, but I love the little happy face tests and all the different things we do because interacting with the customers, with the ultimate customer, is a lot of fun. You just got to have thick skin some days.
That's right. Amazing. Well, Brian, thank you so much. I mean, I've had a lot of fun here. Thank you for just sharing your story. And I learned so much about you and JTM. I didn't realize, how much you guys and gals have been at the forefront of what you do in the food business. And again, just thanks for coming on, sharing. And I'm sure this will resonate with a lot of people.
Yep. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks, Nick.
Of course. Thanks, Brian.